Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. From Tor, the location of the Palace of the Mendankwe people, we bring what are making news in Africa, the headlines. President Paul Biya has handed over 80 million francs CFA to victims of the February 14 Gabon massacre in a Cameroon's conflict-hit northwest region of the country. Each family was handed the sum of 5 million francs CFA to construct a house alongside other goods, including mattresses and household items. Activities are marking the closure of the 16th edition of the Bilingualism Week ended today, February 5, with a closing ceremony at the Lycée d'Aqua Nord Bonamusadi. Celebrated under the theme Bilingualism, a tool for resilient, qualitative and inclusive education, the institution hosted 10 other schools that displayed extracurricular activities that promote bilingualism. Lawmakers in the Democratic Republic of Congo elected a speaker loyal to President Felix Tshisekedi Wednesday after a string of moves to break his predecessor, that Joseph Kabila's grip on the legislature. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned as we bring the details of this stories and more. Good evening once more and welcome back. President Paul Biya has handed over 80 million francs CFA to victims of the February 14 Gabon massacre in Cameroon's hit northwest region of the country. Each family was handed the sum of 5 million francs CFA to construct a house alongside other goods, including mattresses and household equipment, as are detailed in this report. A kind gesture. At first sight, many interpret the gift as another antic by the regime to keep dissenting voices mute over the poor treatment given victims of the massacre carried out by the country's own armed forces. Initially denying responsibility for the massacre, the government later swallowed her words after a commission of inquiry established that the horrific act was carried out by soldiers and members of a local vigilante believed to have been settling scores over an earlier disagreement with the Ngabo people. After much pressure from the national and international community, the trial of 3 security elements accused of partaking in the massacre started on December 17, 2020 and is still ongoing. So far, the government has set up a military base in the locality, a move appreciated by many, even though others say it rather evokes horrific memories of the incident, given that it was carried out by men in uniform. President Paul Biya envoy to Ngabo yesterday was the Northwest Governor Adolphe Lele Lafrique, who is reported to have told locals to indicate when ready for the state to exhume the corpses and give them a befitting burial, as the corpses of all 21 civilians killed, including a pregnant woman and kids, are yet to be exhumed and buried as promised. Following the government's admission of the role played by its soldiers in the massacre, calls have been heightened for inquiries to be opened into several other similar situations recorded in the course of the ongoing crisis to no avail. With thousands of lives lost already and many more in desperate need of aid, it still remains uncertain how long the impasse characterized by regular gun battles, explosions, extortion, illegal arrests and detention, kidnappings, and artisanal bombings will last in Cameroon's minority English-speaking regions. The Minister of Youth and Civic Education, a president of the organization of the Youth Festival, Moana Futsu, has signed a press release today, Friday, February 5, 2021, indicating in which he informed that the Great Parade of the 55th edition of the National Youth Day, which is celebrated on February 11 of each year, will no longer take place throughout the national territory. This following the failure to observe barrier measures during certain large-scale events and the subsequent risks of a resurgence, and also scale events and the subsequent risks of a resurgence and a spread of the coronavirus pandemic. He also signified that only the activities of the youth village will reduce mobilization, will continue to take place in physical meetings and in strict compliance with barrier measures to stop the spread of the virus. All the other activities of the Youth Week will be held essentially in virtual mode as foreseen in the National Harmonized Program. Activities are marking the closure of the 16th edition of the Bilingualism Week ended today, February 5, with a closing ceremony at the Lycée d'Aqua Nord Bonamusadi in a Douala littoral region celebrated under the theme Bilingualism, a tool for resilient, qualitative and inclusive education. The institution hosted 10 other schools that displayed extracurricular activities that promote bilingualism. Details in this report. The event, marked by cultural displays, speeches and sketches that focus on the promotion and importance of bilingualism, saw the representative of the governor of the littoral region, the regional delegate of basic education, the representative of the regional delegate of secondary education, and the principal of the host school, Madame Bango Ebualia Monique, amongst parents, teachers, and spectators present. The message from the Ministry of Secondary Education on the 16th edition of the celebration of bilingualism focused on leaving no stone unturned in the provision of inclusive education to students, which is the key to bilingualism. Teachers have been called upon to do their best in providing the best education for children, as bilingualism promotes a resilient, qualitative and inclusive education. According to Madame Bango Ebualia Monique, bilingualism is being practiced at the school not only during Bilingualism Week, but throughout the school's academic year.
The message you can give at our students is that we try to practice the bilingual game daily to promote bilingualism, to promote the bilingualism and to achieve the fact that you can speak in the both language, English and French. For this event, the number of the school, I think that we receive more than 10 students. The practicals of the bilingualism is effective because we recommended to our teachers and the students to do the bilingual game. The teacher have to summarize his lesson at the end of this hour.
While noting that previous themes have been stressing on the fact that bilingualism can be used as a tool to strengthen national unity, resolve conflict, promote peace, and bring forth development and many other virtues, the lenses have been adjusted this year to lay more emphasis on its serving as a tool for making our education resilient, capable of standing the test of time, and surviving through misfortunes. The notion and practice of bilingualism is noted to have commenced with the Man-O-War Bay Dream transition into the Moliko and the Collège Bilingue d'Application, which produce models that are the finest bilingual citizens in the country. The Ministry of Secondary Education and government's strong desire to make Cameroonians attain a level of bilingualism has pushed the Ministry of Secondary Education to create a wider concept called the Special Bilingualism Educational Program, where students learn and practice professional bilingualism through the use of the two official languages, English and French. Though the program is still in the pilot phase, 99 schools officially have it in their syllabus in the country. The colorful ceremony also did not fail to portray the different cultural dances of Cameroonians, award of prizes to students who took part in the competitions organized during the commencement of the Bilingualism Week since February 1. Lawmakers in the Democratic Republic of Congo elected a speaker loyal to President Felix Tshisekedi Wednesday after a string of moves to break his predecessor Joseph Kabila's grip on the legislature. Almost 400 of the 500 members supported Christophe Mboso, the National Assembly's oldest member at 79, who left Kabila's FCC party in December to rally behind Tshisekedi. The election follows the ousting of former Speaker Jeanine Mabunda 3 weeks ago and the resignation of Prime Minister Sylvestre Ilunga Ilunkamba last Friday following a censure motion in Parliament. Both belong to the camp of Kabila, who was succeeded 2 years ago by Tshisekedi but kept a grip on power via supporters in Parliament. On Tuesday, a similar censure motion was filed against Senate Speaker and Kabila Ali Alexis Twamba Mwamba by a majority of the upper house's members. Tshisekedi renewed a bid to utter Kabila's camp from a Democratic Republic of Congo's institution was launched on December 6, 2020 when he announced the end of a coalition with the former president's supporters. Tunisia's President Kais Saied has stood firm in his opposition to a cabinet reshuffle, suggesting he would not let the 11 new ministers take the oath of office. Tunisia's parliament last month had approved a cabinet reshuffle that deepened the conflict between the prime minister and the president, Kais Saied. President Kais condemned the absence of women among the new ministers and said some likely new cabinet members may have conflicts of interest. This comes as the COVID-19 crisis is weakening an already battered economy. In 2020, the economy was at a low ebb and shrank by more than 8%. Amid the cabinet reshuffle last month, hundreds had gathered outside the parliament over social inequality and police abuses. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your keen attention. We continue with La Capsule de Sport, and remember, another edition of information comes up at exactly 8 o'clock. That's Le Journal de 20. Stay tuned and have a great weekend.